What's going on, everybody? So I want to say right at the start of this video, I am trying to make this video as short as possible because in case you missed it, over on Soggy Cereal's channel, he just dropped a video that is almost an hour and 30 minutes long exposing Dogpack and a lot of his lies, which if you've been on this channel and you've been on it for a while, you know I've been doing this for months now. And the reason why I want this to be brought to your attention is because I think it's a pretty solid video. Now, for full transparency, I haven't watched the whole damn thing because it's an hour and 30 minutes long. I barely have enough time in my day to watch a movie, let alone watch another, YouTube video that's as long as a movie. But I will say I have watched about half of it and skimmed a lot of it, and that's kind of what I want to talk about because as I was going through this video, I noticed Soggy talked about a lot of the same things that I pointed out months ago, which I think is pretty awesome because I think anybody that actually did research with Soggy has shown that he has done would come to the same conclusions that I was in my video. So I think it's pretty fantastic from what he was doing over there. But there are just a few things that I want to talk about that I totally agree with, thought were cool, or even disliked. Anyways, let's just go ahead and dive into my handy dandy notebook here. Some of the things that Soggy covered that I also covered that I thought, a lot of people weren't talking about were, one, the eye wink thing. This was I just couldn't believe that freaking Dogpack had said this. There was a whole segment in my first video where I was like, yeah, I don't think that that's a fake video. I don't think the old man winked or they edited it in post. That made no sense. Well, in Soggy's video, and I guarantee that this video, because I was doing mine in real time or I was releasing it as the information was coming out, so this video must have came out way after mine. I'm not too sure when it did, but he actually has the old man from the video that did the wink, which I believe his number was 58. He made a video where he was like, yeah, that wasn't fake. Nothing in that video was fake. I heard the guy say he was leaving. I actually, winked. I planned. Everything I did, I planned. So that was a good video. That's like solid confirmation that that video wasn't fake. Now, Dogpack did point out that the clocks changed. I mentioned in my video that they probably just did that for storytelling purposes, but they didn't just do it in post like he was saying, where they, kind of fabricated that whole storyline. I think that was just completely fake. And in Soggy Cereal's video, it pretty much confirms that. So that was one of the things I liked the most. He also talked about the $1 million winner from the, Keep Your Hands on $1 Million video. He showed a segment in that video, which I also thought was pretty good because that was another one of those things where I thought Dogpack was manipulating what that guy was saying. Because, Dogpack wouldn't really do the research. That is something I have been just hampering on, saying that he'll take something and mold it into his story so it could fit his narrative to go against MrBeast. And one thing that we covered in recent videos was the whole freaking CP stuff that was going on with the Rosanna content. And now he has a big section in that as well. And again, we covered that in my videos. So I'm glad, somebody else out there was pointing at these things that I also thought was really, really important. Now, the CP thing, I think everybody started covering that one. And I think that was the huge downfall of Rosanna and Dogpack. They never really even addressed it. Dogpack did, but he was very defensive about it, all legally and all that jazz, like I mentioned in my videos. But, yeah, I think that was the big downfall. I think that's where everybody kind of turned on them. And, of course, he obviously has a big section of that in his video, which, again, was so stupid. That was the thing that blew my mind, seeing Rosanna and Dogpack just do that whole thing. Again, if you haven't seen my previous videos, you should I highly recommend you go check them out. That was just a tidbit. There are so many things that you will see in Soggy's videos that I already covered, like the whole, Jimmy's girlfriend being in the videos and all that kind of stuff. He covers that. If you watch the whole hour and 30 minutes of it, like I said, I skimmed it. There are sections that I've already covered, which I thought was great. I'm glad somebody with a bigger channel than me is covering this kind of stuff. But moving on to the next thing, and this is the craziest thing, and I think where Soggy Cereal's video really stands out. This guy had a lot of insider information, and this is something that you really benefit from when you do have a bigger channel or you've had videos that have popped off like Soggy Cereal. He has a reputation of kind of doing these deep dives, which, people did kind of shit on him previously about the slop video, which he did take down. But for the most part, he's had a good reputation of doing really good deep dives. And so that's probably why he was able to get so much information. And it's not from the lack of trying with me. Now, granted, One thing a lot of people might not understand about YouTube is your numbers or your credibility of like how big you are on a channel opens so many doors. Because people actually give you the freaking time of day. And like, again, some of the people that Soggy talks about he talked to people that are like working at Beast Inc. now, or that actually worked with Dawson, and he has a sit-down interview with them. He has interviews of people that were manipulated by Dogpack or had like their words taken out of context, which again, I think this is very damning evidence that I think is really good. And I wouldn't have been able to get stuff like that. So it's so nice that Doggy. What are you thinking about there, brain? But Soggy's cereal was able to get these kind of interviews. Now, I tried to do this myself, and nobody gave a shit. I'm just too small. My socials are small. Like, I have no audience anywhere. But I reached out to the Asher Show, which was somebody that reached out to, or had an interview with the Dogpack. I used some of their clips in my video. They didn't respond to me. I reached out to freaking Oompaville to see, like, because I wanted, the reason why I was reaching out to a lot of people is I wanted to know what they thought of Dogpack, which is what Soggy showed in this video, and he was able to ask people questions about working with him. And so I think it's really important to see how other people view somebody they've interviewed or interacted with, and I like to get those kind of things to kind of, you know, make my assessment of how people view them. It doesn't mean those are gonna be concrete, because they could be lying, or they could be like, oh, I like him, or he's my friend, so they'll lie for him. But I do still like to take in that information. And so again, I reached out to Oompaville, I reached out to Asherville, I even reached out to Rosanna Pansino when I made my videos. Never got any responses from them. I even reached out to Soggy before I dropped my second video in the series, and I actually had a little chat with Soggy, and that's when I found out that he was working on this video. So I don't know, I think he said he was working on it for months, I'm not too sure, but I did send him my videos as well. I have no idea if he watched them or if it helped him like find other information. I have no idea. Again, he was working on the video for a while, so I'm not going to say there was any help there, but, you know, one could dream. But again, him just having that credibility and that, like, slightly, or I shouldn't say slightly bigger channel, that bigger channel than mine, you know, just opens so many more doors. And, you know, I will say you still have to kind of take it with the grain of salt. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't have to be a grain of salt, but you can be a little weary of the people he's interviewing, because if they are still working at MrBeast Incorporated, they might be weary about their jobs. We don't know if there's some PR training. So you can be a little skeptical if you want, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that their words are meaningless, because, you know, Dogpack has shown that he has lied, that he has been a manipulator, and that he has kind of tried to, you know, mold information to fit his narrative. So talking to people that have worked with him or knew him or were there in the time make a lot of sense. So I think it's moments like that that really make his video really strong. Like, he has a whole interview section, and there's like a couple interviews spread throughout the video as well. So I thought that was really good, and I highly suggest you go at least watch those parts of the videos, because that's where I did skim. I kind of skimmed a lot of the stuff that I kind of already knew about, that I talked about as well, and I went to the interviews and watched those. So yeah, a lot of good stuff in there. I'm not trying to, like, you know, spoil it and place it here. I just highly think you should go watch that video. But there is, you know, I think there's always positive and negatives. I always try to be fair here. Again, I haven't watched the full video, but there is one thing that Soggy did in this video that I do kind of disagree with, because it feels like he's kind of nonchalantly blowing this thing off, or he's not, I don't know, he's not caring as much about it. And granted, I did this a little bit too, but I tried to do it with context, and I think that's kind of where he's coming from as well, but I still disagree. And that is when he talks about MrBeast not faking videos. He says they're not fake because he mentions safety, like the raft video, right? MrBeast and them had to get off the raft, which is something Dogpack showed. Dogpack did say that they slept on a yacht. Freaking Soggy has evidence that they weren't on a yacht. They were like on this rusty barge ship, and that's where they are. And there's like video evidence of them sitting on this barge and going and seeing like production equipment. So that's kind of crazy. I would have never been able to get information like that. So I thought that was nuts, really good evidence. And he shows that they actually got off the thing. So in actuality, yes, it was faked, and they say it is faked for safety, or the reason they got off the raft was for safety reasons, which is totally fine. I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, that if that happened, MrBeast could have still been very transparent about it. So technically, they still, you're misleading your audience. And you guys know me, I hate the misdirection, I hate misleading like that. MrBeast could have easily just been like, hey guys, there was a moment where we had to get off the raft for safety reasons because of this lightning, but we actually counted the amount of time we were off of the raft and we added it to the end of the video, so we were still on the raft for a full 7 days. That is full transparency, and I guarantee you, people would have not gave a shit if he did that, but instead, he did the misleading thing and just didn't even say that they got off the raft. So, that is one of those things where I think it is a partial truth. Dogpack was correct that they are misleading people, or they don't give you the full scope of what actually happens. They just kind of like make it happen. And freaking, you know, Soggy in this video, he's like, yeah, they did it for safety reasons. Or I'll just play the clip.
You can still argue about the fact that they went off of the raft, but I don't think it's faking a challenge when you're forced by your safety team to leave your raft once to get on a rusty barge for about an hour to sit out a life-threatening lightning storm to then get back on the raft as soon as possible. It's making sure people don't die.
So yeah, with that part, I understand where he's coming from, that like, oh yeah, you want them to not be safe? Like, no, I want people to be safe, but you can just be very transparent. He also does it in another video where he says that the, you know, the whole 10-minute video where, you know, they actually had to release the valves on the thing where it exploded out. I thought that was fake too. Like, I agreed with Dogpack on that video where I was like, yeah, that water just comes out too crazy. That's not the way it works. I even showed examples of people turning valves and how water actually comes out. He showed evidence that for safety reasons, they had to control the way that things exploded out. Again, that is fake. It's fake. You can't argue against that. I understand it's for safety, but maybe don't do the video then. You know what I mean? Maybe up the time then if you account for how fast the water is going to come out or something like that. I don't know. I understand that, like, yeah, they don't want him to drown in there, so they probably have to explode the thing. It makes sense. You can be transparent with it. Again, it's that misleading thing. So it's not really happening in real time, or it's not really going the way you're making people assume. So again, I think that is very important, and I think that's the stuff you can call out, and Dogpack would have been fine, but of course, he had to add on all of this other crap that he was doing. So I will say, I don't agree with how Soggy is kind of just like nonchalantly being like, oh yeah, it's for safety reasons, so it's not that big of a deal. That's the vibe I get from that section of the video. But I do think it is important to kind of call out MrBeast on that and not just kind of blow it apart. That's what I was trying to do. Again, I don't really give a shit about MrBeast doing CGI and all that kind of stuff. I just care if the results are real, and we've learned that a lot of these results aren't necessarily real. They have to change things or whatever, whether it be for safety or not. Just at least be transparent. I mean, nobody's gonna get mad if you're trying to be safe on a fucking set. Anyways, I feel like this video is getting long enough. But yeah, I just wanted to point out those few things that I have seen from the video. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to finish the video. That's why I wanted to make this video now, to just let people know to go watch it. Go watch it yourself. If you have the hour and 30 minutes to watch, go check it out. I think there's a lot of great footage in there. Soggy has shown himself to be a pretty solid researcher going forward. Or in the past, not going forward. But yeah, hopefully this is all over now. I will say, at the time of recording, Dogpack has not said shit about this. And he's Mr. Defensive. He always like, oh yeah, well, this and that. And he always has the receipts and does whatever. We pointed this out in my last weekly dose video that he deleted one of his MrBeast videos. So I don't know if he's finally realizing like, shit, they caught me, it's over, yada yada. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's pretty interesting that he has yet to respond to anything, because he was very quick during this whole drama to respond to anybody. The first time, he responded so fast to Soggy's original slop video that called him out, and dude, he was like, oh yeah, what about this, what about this, what about this? But now that he dropped a whole expose on his ass, he hasn't said shit. Also, Miss Rosanna, who said she was going to wait for Doggy's video to come out. Doggy again? She was gonna wait for Soggy's video to come out to see like what he did or whatever. She has yet to respond. She's talking about how she's smoking her dad on her new podcast, which I think is a wild concept. And I think Rosanna, look, if I'm being real, conspiracy theory hat on real quick. Let me just go ahead. Actually, this is my conspiracy theory hat over here. Conspiracy theory hat over here. I think that Rosanna, like, just looking back on everything, if she was planning this podcast that's called Rodiculous, I won't lie. When I first read it, I thought it said Rawdiculous, and I was like, yo, but I have dyslexia, so that was totally wrong. But I could totally see that all of this drama could have been promo for the podcast. I don't think that's fully true. But conspiracy hat on with her, launching all this drama, still talking about the Paul brothers, still talking about MrBeast. Could be, just a little bit of a promotion for her new podcast that's launching. I don't know. Conspiracy hat on. That's all I'm throwing out there. But she has yet to respond to this whole expose. Somebody she worked with. She was so in the dirt with Dogpack, and he just got extremely exposed by Soggy Cereal. And yeah, so balls in your court, Dogpack and Ro, because you said a lot of shit. And a lot of it just got exposed. I've been talking about this for the last couple of months now. But yeah, hopefully this thing is officially fucking over, because I think we should all move on. And yeah, I think I'm done. I don't think anything else that comes after this really matters. If I do cover any of it, it'll be in my, my series called The Weekly Dose. But that's it. I wanted to make this video because I know everybody has been coming to my channel to kind of see, kind of like well-tailored, content for this kind of whole thing. I think Soggy Cereals, from what I've seen, has been pretty fair. And, if I do see anything else that I would call out, maybe I'll put it in the comments or something like that. But that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate everybody that's been watching. That's it. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Beep!